We've all been there, right? Stuck in what feels like this endless loop, having the same exact argument with our partners over and over again. But what if I told you those aren't just arguments? What if they're actually something else entirely?
Seriously, does this feel familiar? You're just stuck, replaying that same fight about the chores, or who's too busy, or who isn't listening. It's like a broken record, and you just cannot seem to find the off switch.
But here's a wild thought. What if you're not actually fighting? What if, as the psychiatrist Eric Berne suggested in his amazing work on transactional analysis, you're playing a kind of subconscious game? Yeah, I know. It's a bit of a mind-bending idea, but it might just be the key to finally breaking that cycle. So, what in the world are these marital games? Well, let's get one thing straight. They're not about winning. Not at all. They're actually these hidden patterns we fall into to justify why we're unhappy, all while neatly avoiding any real change or genuine emotional connection. Byrne, he pointed out a bunch of these games, and today we're going to break down 4 of the most common ones. So let's pull back the curtain, look at the players, their moves, and figure out what they're really trying to achieve. All right, first up, we've got the Harried game. You know this player. They build this fortress of busyness around themselves, taking on absolutely everything until they're totally overwhelmed. But if you look closer, the goal isn't really productivity. It's to create a barrier, a wall to keep out emotional intimacy. The unspoken message is basically, oh, I love to connect, but look at my to-do list. It's my shield. Okay, next is a classic, the blame game, if it weren't for you. Here, one partner basically casts the other as the villain of their life story. They're the reason for all the unfulfilled dreams and missed opportunities. It's actually a really clever move that lets them feel morally superior and totally justified in their resentment, all while dodging any responsibility for their own choices. And now for a true masterclass in passive aggression. Look how hard I have tried. This player puts on a huge show of devotion. They make these grand gestures that secretly are kind of designed to fail from the start. And the goal? Oh, it's to win all the sympathy and get an A for effort, even while the relationship itself is getting a big fat F. And now for what might be the most sneaky game of all, Sweetheart. This is where criticism and control get wrapped up in a disguise of kindness and compliments. It's the, honey, you're so amazing, but it's a brilliant way to completely disarm a partner, right? It makes them feel totally ungrateful for even thinking about questioning your helpful little suggestions. So you have to wonder, why? Why play these emotionally draining games? What is the hidden payoff here? What's the point? Well, here's the twist. The goal isn't to win the fight. It's not to solve the problem. The real goal is just to keep the game going. Because, in a strange way, the game itself is the prize. And here's what that prize is: emotional self-protection. These games are like a shield against feeling vulnerable. They give us a ready-made script to justify our own unhappiness. But most of all, they're a way to avoid the terrifying, beautiful intimacy of a real, honest connection. Our everyday actions become our emotional armor. So, why does any of this matter? Why is it so important to see these unconscious patterns for what they are? Well, because recognizing the games is the first, most essential step to breaking free. After all, you can't change a game you don't even know you're playing. And this quote just says it all perfectly. We use these games as shields to protect our vulnerable hearts. But in doing that, we end up blocking out the very connection we're all craving. The strategy we think is for self-preservation actually becomes a barrier to love. But here is the good news. You don't need some magic wand to fix this. You don't even need to win the game. The single most powerful move you can make is to simply see the game for what it is. Awareness. That's your superpower. So I'm going to leave you with this question to think about. If relationships can be a game, what would it actually mean to just stop playing?